Yeah, Jim, I don't want to come out ahead of a CDC announcement, but as you hinted yourself just now a moment ago, that very soon, imminently, in the next few days, very likely, the CDC will be coming out with updating their guidelines of what people who are vaccinated can do, and even some who are not vaccinated. And certainly what one can do outdoors vis-a-vis masks is going to be one of those recommendations. So stay tuned. It's coming soon.
All right, and if you don't mind, I'll press a little bit. I know you don't want to get ahead of these guidelines, but I assume airports, travel, that sort of thing, that'll be coming up as well.
Well, sooner or later, I don't know if it's all going to be coming out at once. I mean, the one thing for sure is the thing that's on a lot of people's minds is what about outdoors? Because obviously a lot of people are going to be spending a lot of time more outdoors now because the weather is getting really nice, beautiful spring weather. You're going to be seeing people wanting to do things outdoors without masks, and it's common sense to know that the risk when you are outdoors, which we have been saying all along, is extremely low. And if you are vaccinated, it's even lower. So you're going to be hearing about those kinds of recommendations soon.
The risk in the weather is lower with a mitigation. However, this guy, what a little jerk. His name should be alongside the designer of the Hindenburg in the annals of science. This guy is the absolute worst. As we've been saying all along, the risk, he actually said in another interview, it's minuscule. That's the word that he used recently over the weekend. Minuscule risk of transmission outside. Really? Tell that to all the paranoid lunatics walking around New York City now by themselves outside as I'm speaking to you and have been doing so for a year. Gotta have my mask on. I've got to put a mask on my face outside by myself. Or else someone's going to breathe on me. Crazy. Emotionally disturbed. Psychologically damaged because they believe Fauci before. Because they listen to the science. They actually think this was an intelligent thing to do. I see people in New York by themselves out on the street double masking as if one wasn't enough. I take the virus so seriously. Aren't you seeing, folks? What I've told you all along is true. What I've been saying to you is reasonable and rooted in the data and rooted in the science. And all these libs, all these furious libs running around, why don't you believe the science? What happened here was they were able to take the media, the journos, the Democrat Party were able to combine anti-Trumpism and Fauciism all at once. That's what really happened here. If you were anti-Trump, you became a Fauciite. And these two things became inextricably linked. It didn't matter if one and the other had anything to do with each other in reality. It didn't matter even when Trump was no longer president. You wear your mask the way Trump people wear a MAGA hat to show political solidarity. And you've even started to see more and more now people saying, okay, fine, so wearing a mask outside isn't really reasonable, but it's a good example to set. Oh, I'm sorry. So now we are actually doing things for show. I've been saying they do this crap for show for months, and they said, oh, you're an idiot. You don't believe the science, all this stuff. And now they're straight up admitting that I was right and they were wrong. I just want to be very clear about this. What I've been telling you is true, and what the Fauciites and the journos have been saying is crap. Now, they can try to rewrite history now and say, Fauci go, we've been saying all along, it's very, how many months have I been saying, if Fauci wasn't a snide little coward, he would say, no outdoor masks. There's no reason for it. It's stupid. Why do they want everyone masking outdoors? Because they wanted you masked up all the time and everyone had to be masked. Because if anybody broke from the Fauciite consensus, if anybody refused to be emotionally and physically dominated by these collectivist nut jobs, then they would lose their grip on power. Then there would be the chance of freedom beginning to return to the American people. Then all of a sudden we'd be in a different place. And they simply could not abide that, could they? They simply couldn't let us be in a place where individuals were making their own determinations. They've been controlling your ability, even outside, to breathe fresh air for over a year. People tell me that we don't have to worry about tyranny in this country. I'm just going to say this to you right now. The Second Amendment has never been more important. For those of us paying attention, the check on government tyranny that exists because of firearms in the hands of civilians has never been, in my lifetime, more important than it is right now. Because you see the mentality of the Fauciites. You see what happens in Canada, where they're pulling, where the police are being sent to pull old ladies by their hair. You know, you're not social distancing enough. And then throw them on the floor and handcuff them. And why aren't you wearing a mask? It's really terrifying. It's sad because people are so stupid and have been all along. Oh, if you don't mask up 3 times, you're a denier. You don't believe the virus is real. Arguments that only morons make, but they were making them all the time. I mean, all these news organizations, the New York Times, CNN, so shameful. Social media should never be forgiven for their role in the oppressive censorship around lockdowns. I mean, they showed they are authoritarian crap. The people that are making decisions, policy decisions at Twitter and Facebook and Google are shameful leftist loons, shutting down essential political debate. Do you realize that what we're going to find out is not only is outdoor masking, and we've known this all along, but there'll be more and more studies. They can't, now that people are starting to wake up and open their eyes, there's just going to be more and more information. There's going to be more data to prove Fauci is a disaster and has been all along. I could just smell, I could see the dishonesty dripping off that smug lib bureaucrat from the beginning. From the beginning. You don't go from, ha, masks are stupid, they don't protect anybody, to masks are even better than vaccines, with no actual data to support this, by the way, other than theoretical studies that they're doing where they're blasting some water particles into a mask as if that's representative of the way things happen in real life. It's all so outrageous. And this is what they've done. They blame Trump for all the deaths in this country. Is Trump at fault for Brazil? Take a look at the numbers in Brazil. Is Trump at fault for what's going on in India right now with COVID? Do you know that last summer they were writing stories? About how masks save in India from COVID. You know that? It was because of their masking. What do you think happened now? They're actually beyond hospital capacity in place. They're having terrible problems in India. Blaming Trump for this? What an absurdity. Blaming Trump for COVID is like blaming somebody for an asteroid hitting the planet. It's beyond the comprehension of any intelligent, fair-minded person. But you see so much of our society. I mean, the leftists are box checkers and they're institutionalists. And they do what they're told, and they just want a pat on the head. They want to be told, oh, you're one of the smart, good ones because you do what we tell you to do, what the power apparatus tells them to do. They don't think for themselves. They don't have individualism. They don't have intellectual courage. You know, plenty of people can do multivariable calculus and think that they're really smart. How many of the people that will go around bragging about their school or their degree were willing to stand up and say, Fauci is full of it? Very, very few. Because common sense and courage are more valuable in life, more important than a GPA at an Ivy League school or an advanced degree in public health policy. Yeah. Now they're finally saying outdoor masking. And I know what the excuses will be. Oh, but it's because we have a vaccine. You still have tens of millions of people who aren't vaccinated. Still COVID flowing around the country. And their argument isn't we've beat COVID, because then why should we mask anywhere? Their argument is, yeah, it turns out outdoor masking is not really necessary. It was never necessary. And that's the point. It was never reasonable, no matter what they tell you.
Hey, Team Buck, thank you so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you like this video, please click that little thumbs up button so then it will log as liked. And also, if you want to see more great content from The First, please click subscribe.